Hey guys, what's good? Welcome to Order of Opinion. I'm your host Tim. This is my co-host Anthony.
What's good, guys?
For those of you returning or just tuning in, we are going over our ranking of the movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe from the shittiest to the greatest. Order of Opinion. So for number 11, I have Thor, the first Thor. And
really? Well, I'm interested to hear your score.
Oh, it's definitely better than Thor 2.
And well, obviously.
It's much like the Hulk, leaps and bounds better than the Hulk. I give it a 6.
Okay.
You know, when I'm watching the movie, and I had to like go back to a couple scenes and watch them too.
Okay.
It's just not. It doesn't hit for me. It's weird, and I think I might have mentioned this to you before, especially with the acting and the action, and even just the pace of the story, the way, like, first of all, you know, the pacing. Come on, man, that was shoddy. Everything was up and down, up and down, up and down. There'd be some great moments.
Well, you didn't appreciate that they sort of didn't go on any backstory. Basically, I mean, there's one scene where they were kids, but really there was no real like origin story of him growing up. It was just of Thor being Prince, ready to take the throne.
Sure, but that one scene, the voiceover scene,
the narration, yeah.
Like, and then it was one in my mind that would have just been better left as a voiceover, because then they zoom out and it's the two kids, and it just ruins it.
And it also alludes to why Loki's fucked up, which is like Odin's sort of a dick. Keeps telling his kids that like one of them, they both might be able to be king. Yeah,
why would he do that? If he knows, that's another thing they introduce in this movie. Odin does everything for a reason.
Yeah.
So
which it does stick to that.
We'll talk about that a little later on, because I have some stuff to say about that. But so, like I said, it felt choppy, and Thor was really one-dimensional until the end. And you know, like, he was just
fish out of water.
Yeah.
Earth, yeah.
And even when he was on Earth, he still acted like Thor in Asgard. He just didn't know what was going on.
But it was hilarious.
It was hilarious, and I gave it points for that, because that hit. And, you know, the Asgardian scenes, I'm not a huge fantasy Lord of the Rings type fan, so they didn't hit as much for me, so I didn't like enjoy them as much, but they were definitely better than a
lot of movies that do that stuff.
Yes, that, but also the other scenes where it involved like Natalie Portman or what's her name, Kat Dennings as Darcy.
Oh my god.
And what's funny is, so the best person out of that, and I think, you know, obviously this is a bit before, when did Disney acquire them?
I don't think this was it yet. I think it was Cap.
Okay.
First one was Cap. Don't quote me on that.
All right. Well, neither of us know that either. So, you know, it for that being said, it didn't have that character building that you would expect from like any movie.
Really?
I
feel like that was the strongest point of the movie.
Really?
Was the character build. I thought that's all that it really was. And my problem is like is with a movie like that is the action wasn't good enough. That was my bigger problem with it, was that
I would agree.
The frost giant scene was okay.
When he kills the big beast at the end, that was
really
cool.
cool. He just flies through his mouth.
And speaking of,
I'm Thor. Just fly through your mouth. So, and what I also liked about that scene was it was showing how much of an asshole Thor is. He's so he's so glory hungry, glory drunk, that he thinks that, like, because, you know, of what has happened in the past with his dad, he thinks that it's all about, you know, war and winning whatever with fighting, or with you know, capturing the glory with, you know, we're just going to go in at a whim just for disrespecting us. Yeah. And we're gonna go attack you. And what I liked about that scene was that he was so set on those that he made his friends go, basically. Like, talk them into it, when you think about it, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and we can both agree those 3 friends sucked. I mean, I'll take the Ant-Man friends over those any day of the week, but that's off topic. He, while he's fighting, doesn't give a shit, like, about them or what they're doing. Like, the guy gets stabbed, and Thor's just like, go on without me, I'm gonna fuck everyone else up. Like, he doesn't care. That's really cool. It's not that he doesn't care, he's just lost in what's going on, that he's overlooking all that other stuff.
Yeah, but doesn't that sort of feel cliche for that whole Prince-King relationship?
Yeah, but I liked it. Like,
it was
me.
better than most other movies.
Yes.
But see, like I said, we're not really ranking it on that, so when I'm watching it, like, I feel this, like, okay, well, the prince is arrogant, and then he has to learn how to get better. And oh, spoiler alert, actually major Jesus allegory at the end there. Walks among men as a human being until he has to sacrifice himself for a town, dies, and becomes all-powerful and is able to save everyone.
Did he die, though?
Well, he died, quote-unquote died. Like, as close as Thor apparently can get to dying.
And what, Loki was Judas?
Yeah, I'm not sure. That makes sense, but, you know.
Yeah, Judas wasn't his brother. Or, well, technically Loki isn't his brother.
He's not.
Now, what did you think about that reveal? Here's my thing. I want to get this across first. I thought I would have gave it 0.5 more points for if at the scene where he sees the frost giant touch his arm, and that's like showing that he's frost giant, that it was just them looking down and they didn't actually show it, so that when he touches the, what the hell is that? Is that the?
It's the Is it the Tesseract?
I don't think so. No, it's not. I really don't remember what it's called, to be honest. Don't care. He when he starts grabbing it, then he like turns into the frost giant or whatever. And
that's right.
What I don't get is that why, if that's like, maybe it wasn't supposed to be suspenseful, but you could have made it more suspenseful. And what was kind of cool from continuing from that scene was that that's why Loki's plan kind of seemed like shitty, because it was a sort of on the fly plan, because his plan wasn't necessarily, his plan at first was just to fuck up Thor's day.
Essentially, yeah, he just wanted Thor to look like a jerk. And
he
Thor
wasn't
was
trying to do all this
become...
elaborate shit. It was when Odin goes down into his Odin-coma, whatever the
like
hell
a heart attack or a stroke. He strokes out.
He's
right
thinking with fucking gold.
He thinks too hard, and he passed out.
So he, and Loki's like overacting, and he's like, "Who am I?" You know, and then Odin's like, "Oh, son, I'm weak." And it's like the mom's like somehow not involved in any family business.
No,
so
except for sitting there.
Yeah,
she just sits there and tells other people.
Apparently, they only have a relationship with their father, which is what Thor 2 touched up on, right?
Yeah.
So, but with what he did, it was on the fly. It was like, oh shit, he's hurt. Thor's exiled right now, or whatever the term is, he's banished.
It was exiled,
right now.
banished.
And he is like, I'm taking full fucking advantage of it.
Dude, and he does, and that's why I rated, at first I really wanted to rate it more around a 5, but then you really look at Loki and his character in this movie, and it's a troubled character, and it's a deep character, and the acting is spot on. All of his scenes, and
they explain why he's troubled.
And notice, not only that, but notice that all of his scenes are very intense. The music on them is very intense. You're just the way
just the look on his face.
Yeah, they direct it minus his corny outburst with Papa fucking Odin. But they really...
But it was still well done. I just don't like overacting that much.
And with this type of Shakespearean, like we're saying, you're gonna see this degree of overacting, I suppose. Odin, it's so funny to me is when they get back, and Odin, like Loki is about to say something to Odin, and he just goes, "Hey!"
Yeah.
He just shuts him up. He doesn't do anything.
And to be fair, I would, if I was Loki too, I would want to do what I fucking did, because they hate on that motherfucker the whole time.
Right, and as a kid, it sort of seems like Odin believes in both of them, but somewhere along the line, and this is this is what gets me is, so Odin, you're not responsible for your kids turning out to be an asshole. Like, that's your kid.
Because you promised them king.
Yeah.
They're privileged. They're entitled. And I think that's what I'm saying to you. I think that's the better part of the movie, is that they touch on all these humanistic attributes and bad attributes with some of the characters, and you really see it. And for a movie that's like a sci-fi kind of movie, for it to touch like that, I think it has to be applauded for a little bit, because it was more humanistic to me than it was like a spacey sci-fi movie like Thor 2 was.
Okay, so I would agree with that too. And what was weird is, especially with Thor 2, it is sci-fi after it's, Knights of the Round Table.
Yeah.
Anyway, Thor 2. Let's not talk about that again. But Thor 1, so it does have this more of a
we keep saying Thor 1.
Thor 1. Well, right.
You know what? Let's trademark it. Thor 1.
Thor 1.
Cap 1.
Trademark.
Iron Man 1.
Cap 3. Cap 2.
We're just going in order.
We're just all of them. So Thor, the first Thor. Is that better? Is that better?
Yeah, it's a little bit better.
Okay, so the first Thor, it does have a lot more complexity than the second, which maybe is why you want to rate the second down so much more.
In the characters.
In the characters. But it doesn't have a lot, a lot more consistency in the characters than Thor 2 still isn't a lot of growth and consistency and whatnot. So Loki drives it in, and I really think Odin at parts really drives it in. And even Thor being wacky, human.
I need a horse.
Or he just throws the drink down. He's like, another. Like, he really goes.
And he was like, why? That was delicious. Like, he didn't understand why she was hating or why she was mad,
That, and they find him both times by hitting him with the car.
Yeah. So which was sort of also stupid.
It was convenient.
Oh, here's what I'll say I didn't like either. That didn't make sense to me. Is the whole hospital scene, he which was a great scene. He throws doctors around. Hilarious.
Yeah.
And then we see him in the next scene with no security around him, just strapped to the bed.
Right? He's already proven to be superhuman.
They already had cops there.
Yeah, with guns.
And then he's just allowed to escape the hospital.
Well,
and they don't even know who the hell he is. He doesn't have a goddamn ID or nothing. If we want to talk about putting him in the human world, at least do some human things to him. Don't just and he was funny, but we have to speak on this. The best scene in the movie, and to me, I don't know how you felt about it, but it gave me, it was at least a full point for me, was him getting his hammer, dude. I really liked that scene.
Well, okay, the visuals of the scene, that moment of the scene, yes, it was a good moment of the scene, but I really didn't like that whole Jesus thing they were doing, but
you didn't feel when he was grabbing that hammer and he couldn't pull it that you were like, damn, even though it's fake, you're like, damn, and then further on, Loki tries to pull the hammer. That's a good scene, too.
Yeah, and I think in that scene, that really does a lot for Loki in my mind, because Loki sort of plans this out, that Thor is going to be sent there.
Yeah.
And, when he goes, and I think he really thinks he's going to, be able to, either somehow get the hammer off of Thor or something like that, and that's why he sort of, gets him captured around the hammer. And when he goes and grabs it, he realizes, he fucked up, because the hammer shows him exactly what you would need.
And Thor knew.
But that's what's weird, is I don't know. That's what doesn't make sense to me. So it looks like it tells Loki that you need to be worthy, and it looks like, when he grabs it, it does it again where Odin whispers and the thing. But when Thor grabs it, it's like he doesn't understand why he can't pick it up.
Yeah, which was part of his character.
And that's another thing I didn't really like about the movie too, is this whole this ideology that we're not supposed to really, these powers are supposed to be explained. It just seems to fall short on on Thor at all.
Yeah.
When he gets sent to be mortal, whatever, he doesn't have the armor on and whatnot. But
he's hella strong, ridiculously strong.
Yeah, but then, so, when he goes to fight the people in the hospital scene, like you were saying, he doesn't really hurt them like you'd think he would. Cap seems like he could beat up that Thor, which doesn't make sense, because the Asgardians, they've already established that they're like mighty warriors or whatever, and so it, and it shows him with the hammer. If the hammer is, really the weapon he's getting power from swinging the hammer, and he punches the dude with the hammer in his hand, how does I don't know. Like I said, they don't explain anything in Thor.
And you're right. The movie at some points was slow. And CGI fest.
Oh my god.
The goddamn Rainbow Road looks like a stained glass. It looks like stained glass, and
the Destroyer, like, come on,
yeah,
it's not even a real enemy.
Yes, but at the same time, it made sense. And here's what I want to ask. Since you mentioned that, here's what I want to ask about this. Since Odin does know technically everything, or whatever was implied, why? Okay, so do you think he did that on purpose with Loki because he exiled Thor, and he wanted to see if Loki could take over, and that Loki in turn screwed it up himself because he never understood what Odin was doing? Because remember, his mom said he does everything for a reason, and Loki kind of looks at her like, wait, what the fuck? And then all of a sudden this prophecy fulfills for Thor. Do you think it was Odin sort of giving Loki a chance because he had just found out he was a frost giant? And remember, he was talking about, I was hoping you could bridge the gap between us and their people, because Odin feels guilty. You could see that too. He feels guilty for what he did. That he doesn't want to be known for this big war hero for destroying a race and leaving them shit. He wants to get them peaceful together.
It would explain his single thug tier. It does make sense, and so yeah, if you want to really like think on it, you can see that.
See, and that's what it made me do. So
yeah.
Don't you think that at least deserves like a 6.5, 6.8? I mean, I get what you're saying. I can't, and I haven't said my score yet, but it was let me see. It was 7. I gave it a 7 for me, and it's number 9 on my list.
Interesting.
And what did you say you had it as? Your number 11, right?
11, yeah. So a little bit of a difference.
No, that's right, because you're hosting. I'm an idiot. But number 9 for me was Thor, and that's how I felt about it.
So and I get what you mean about like you could, but we shouldn't. I think a big of what we're trying to do is not extrapolate too much information.
True.
And so I think it makes you do that a lot. And then just, to close it out, because we haven't even touched on this yet, but this is really to drive home my point why I couldn't rate it any higher is, oh my god, the love scenes.
Oh, yeah. Because we've actually been talking pretty good about it.
Yeah.
But, oh man, the love scenes dragged me from like a 7.4 to a 7. I mean, it dragged the movie down. Sure.
For me,
and it was forced, right? Just like the mom's death in Thor 2. He had to have that romance, so, quote, unquote, so that he could have a reason to come back to Earth so that the ending could make sense. And speaking of the ending, I'm going to let you speak on that, but speaking of the ending, is that scene where he puts the hammer on Loki cool or a little weird, in your opinion? I loved it.
I would think it's weird because he shouldn't know that. Or does he know that?
Who, Loki?
Thor, that he can that no one else can lift the hammer, because at this point he hasn't seen anyone else try to lift the hammer.
No, because he got it back.
So did it tell him? Did the hammer tell him? Did the hammer tell Loki?
I think it's implied that they know it's too
many implications. And okay,
and we could be wrong. Maybe we're missing something.
Final point from me, just to really seal in how much I hated that romance.
Okay.
Think about it like this: she meets a dude in a dust storm, crashes into him again at a hospital, right? Her crackpot theories. She's falling in love with a guy who's presumably a homeless man.
If she's wrong.
If she's wrong. A homeless, insane man. He's insane. He thinks he is Thor the god, which he ends up being.
Which love interest is worse, Thor or Anakin?
I would take, honestly, whew. Anakin's like, he really got himself a cougar on that one, right?
Right.
Like, Thor, he just caught himself an idiot.
Yeah.
Like, this chick's an idiot.
An idiot for being, like, supposedly the smartest person other than the older scientist who we haven't even talked about. He was well done.
Eric
also.
Selvig, yeah, and I did think they gave him a lot of depth for
Yeah.
not knowing that he was going to come back in other movies, which he becomes a major role
part. Yep.
in what, at least 2 other movies.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to give him that.
Yeah.
Technically, yeah, 2 other movies that he's in. Anyways, I just couldn't, I couldn't jump on it.
So didn't you think it was a better character story than a big Marvel action movie? Because that's what I got from it, was that it was a good character story.
And think about this. This is early Marvel.
Yeah.
So they're still building it up, and we noticed, and we'll talk about this progression of them closing up plot holes and doing all that. And if you really, they really get better at that. So,
and to speak on it, they're all pretty damn well directed for the most part, except for Incredible Hulk and Thor 2.
Whew.
So, this isn't like we're just touching on the bad ones first. We don't believe many of them are that bad.
No.
So the directing is for the most part is pretty good, and the cinematography for the time period that they have to work with effects always seem pretty good.
Yeah, I think 2 out of the earlier, because this, mind you, is the second movie, I believe.
No,
it's the third.
It's
third? No, it's the 4th.
Yeah, it's the 4th technically. Yeah, Iron Man 2 and then Thor.
Yeah, so it's still early on. So
Hawkeye.
Yeah, a useless Hawkeye cameo.
Coulson though.
Coulson comes through.
Yeah,
you saw him plan out this letting Thor sort of grab the hammer, and that was a really cool scene.
Yeah.
Coulson is
and it had a point. It made sense why he let him.
Yeah.
Why he let them go.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. He wanted to see what was
when the
happen.
Scientist went and picked up what the hell is his name? Do you have his name?
Oh yeah. So the scientist's name is Selvig, Dr. Selvig.
Okay.
And so he I thought he was a cool character, and honestly, out of the 3 human companions, the funniest.
And the good one. He's
the only good one. The good one, exactly.
Natalie Portman, I hope she wasn't just trying to ride like a Marvel gravy train, but she didn't look she looked way more into Star Wars than she did into Thor. Or she maybe felt that the script wasn't up to her par. I don't know. But she was definitely one of the reasons why I couldn't give the movie any higher than a 7. And I still feel like 7 is a little generous. I didn't want to come across that I hate sci-fi. That's just really what it is.
I would agree with you that was probably definitely too generous.
Yeah.
So, overall, it's a solid movie.
Yeah, it's solid.
It's entertaining at parts. It doesn't.
Yes.
It's
funny.
And it's really it has to be closer to 5 because honestly, it's 50-50 through most of the movie.
Yeah.
The characters are 50-50. The growth is 50-50. The scenes, the action, all of it's 50-50. But
the action definitely.
Loki pulls it out of that.
Yeah.
5 range.
Yeah, definitely.